Assalamu Alaikum, everyone. Today we will be learning how to make a semi-swing. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. What you will need is a yardstick, a ruler, scissors, fabric scissors and paper scissors, something to write with, a measuring tape, which you don't see here, and you will need your fabric of choice. Here are the skirt measurements. You will need your waist, the radius measurement, which is 3.14, your skirt length, and this is how to get it, your overall skirt length, and I'll show you how to get that. And then I'll show you how to get the correct fabric amount. So let's pretend this is the fabric. This is the right side right here, and this is the wrong side. We begin by folding the fabric widthwise. We fold it together widthwise. Right sides together. Okay, so for this particular garment, for this particular skirt length, we will need at least 1.5 yards, 1.50, and a half of a yard is 18 inches. A whole yard is 36 inches. So once we fold it in half widthwise, we'll fold it again lengthwise. So we folded it 2 times. We folded it widthwise, and then we folded lengthwise. Okay. So then we take a measuring tape, a ruler, and we go down 1 yard. Let's just pretend that this is 1 yard. We'll mark it. And then from that marking, we go down half of a yard. But I always give myself a little extra room. So I may go down 3/4 of a yard. So instead of 0.5, we'll go down 0.75. And I say this is 0.75. And you mark it again, the yard, and then the 3/4. And then you cut. You cut. Please do not use your fabric scissors. Use paper scissors. If you use fabric scissors, they will get dull. So we cut across. Usually this fabric that's left over is the fabric maybe for the sleeves. Okay. So we cut this in half, and usually what I do is I never cut from the open end. I fold it in half, and then I'll cut from this part so that it'll still be folded and I can use it for the sleeves, etc. So we need to cut this in half. And then we'll have 2 pieces. Now this is still the right side, still the right side. So what we do with the 2 pieces now, we put them together, right sides together. Right sides together. And then you take one end and you make a triangle. You take this end and you put it on this end. So we go over and we make a triangle. If my paper was longer, this part would be all the way over. Okay, so we already took the measurement for our waist. And for the waist, you have to go down however much. The waist that I have is the 11, but we'll just pretend that the one is the 11.25. So we go down to 11.25, down to 11.25. You go around in a circle, basically. And this is the waist. Then the length of the skirt is 43, so we'll go down to 4, pretend that's 43. But you're going from the waist mark that you just made. Then you connect the lines. Cut the fabric out. Cut above, a little bit above this line right here. A little bit above the waistline for seam allowance. Let's pretend that that isn't there. And then when you open it, it'll be a skirt. Now I'm going to even it out just so that you don't have to do that. I'm just doing it because it's the paper. And then you'll have 2 skirts. Right side, wrong side, wrong side. Your skirts.
So now what I'm doing is I'm getting the fabric together. I'm placing right sides together, and then I will place the ends together, the 2 open ends. It's a struggle getting this fabric together. Overall, I use maybe 4.5 to 5 yards, depending on the length of the garment, for a semi-swing. And a semi-swing is basically half a circle, half of a full swing. Make sure to get the fabric as straight as possible and as neat as possible. You don't want any wrinkles in your fabric because it will mess up your cutting. You will not have a straight line and you will have fabric hanging out. Really took me a long time to get that fabric together. This is fast forwarded. So at the top, I'm just cutting to make a straight line so that when I measure, everything is even. Now that everything is flat, I'm going to take my ruler, my yardstick, and measure out 1 yard. And then I go down to 26 because I was making a size large garment. I usually can use like 1.5 yards, but since I was making a size large, I wanted to use a little bit more, so I went to 26 on the ruler. I take the fabric apart, the 2 pieces, and I place them right sides together. I unfold the fabric, place the right sides together, try to get it flat as possible. And then I take one end, usually the right hand, the fabric that's in the right hand, and I cross it over to make a triangle. And you will see when I place the fabric on the table that I made a triangle. Please make sure you make your fabric as smooth as possible. this fabric was very stretchy and it was sticking together, so I was having a hard time. But usually a lot of the fabrics don't do that, but this one was giving me a really hard time. But it's okay because I got it together eventually. Now I take the fabric and fold it over again. My table isn't that wide, so I like to fold it over 2 times so that all of the fabric can fit on the table. Because I don't like cutting on the floor. But it's really up to you whether you want to cut on the table or on the floor. But I'm just showing you a way to cut it out on the table where you don't have to get on the floor and break your back. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to be cutting out the waist. So with the measurements, you go down and you mark on the fabric what your waist measurement was. What your waist measurement divided by the radius was, I'm sorry. So mine is 11.78. So I went to 11.5 because with knit fabric, you'll have extra fabric if you go the full measurement. So take a 1/2 inch off. Now I'm going from the waist measurement down to the skirt length. So the skirt length for this particular garment was 42.5. So I'm going from the top where the waist measurement is down to 42.5, going over, down to 42.5, over, down to 42.5. Fill in as much as you can because you want the line to be as straight as possible when you're connecting the dots. Now I just connect the dots that I made, and after that I'll just cut it out. The fabric at the bottom that's left over, I use that for the bodice part. I use that for the top part. Now this is the fabric that was left over from the skirt that I just cut out. So what I'm doing is, as you see, it was already folded into a triangle. So what I do is just basically get the fabric together, make it smooth, fold it over again into a triangle. I like to use the bottom of the fabric because I like the prints to match up. So if I use the regular fabric and cut it out like a square, the prints won't match up right. So what I'm doing is just getting the fabric together right here. So the fabric is laying straight, and now I'm just putting the measurements on. If you don't know how to take proper measurements, you can go on my channel, and I will put the link below with how to take measurements, and there I will also put the link on how to place the measurements on the fabric. So right here I'm just placing the measurements on the fabric. This is for a large garment. So I'm doing the armhole. I put the shoulder measurement in first. I put the neck measurement in. I went down 1 inch from the line that I drew across. I'm drawing in the armhole. And I'm drawing in the neckline. I only draw in the back neckline first because when I take the fabric apart and unfold them, I like to look at the fabric and match the bodice up to the bottom skirt and see which one matches best. And then when I determine which one I think looks the best, then I'll cut the front neckline out. Now I'm connecting the armhole to the waistline. You will need to put in a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I only put it at the top because I'm good with ironing. But when you're first starting out, you want to place your markings on your fabric or on your paper before cutting out. As you can see, I'm just getting a little bit more space while I'm cutting out. Also, after you're finished cutting out this top, you can get a piece of paper, maybe freezer paper or brown paper. Place this, fold it like this on the paper, and then trace around it, and you will have a pattern, and you won't have to keep on putting the markings on the fabric. You could do the same thing for the skirt as well, and for the sleeves. This is the sleeve part. So this was the fabric left over from when I initially cut out the yard in 26 inches. So what I'm doing is I am placing the measurements from the large size garment, and as I said, I will link the video below on how to take measurements. I show how to take the sleeve measurements, the arm measurements, I'm sorry. So usually I'll just do the measurements myself, but I'm showing you guys how to take the sleeve, the shirt, and put it on the fabric and trace around the shirt to get the sleeve opening, the sleeve top, I'm sorry. And the sleeve is supposed to be shaped like a bell. So I'm using the shirt, like as a pattern, and I'm making it into a bell. Well, I made it into a bell. And the top of a large sleeve would be maybe 7.5, and then the bottom would be, the wrist would be like 4, and that's half measurements, guys, half measurements. So now I'm connecting the bicep to the wrist, and I'm retracing the bell. Now it's time to sew. So when I first begin sewing, I take the skirt portions and I sew them together. I always do the skirt portions first. So I'm placing right sides together, and you can start from the bottom or you can start from the top. I usually start from the top, which is the waist. So I start from the waist and I go sew down each side. Make sure they are right sides together. I'm sorry for the shaking. The tripod wasn't sturdy. I thought it was. I'm just using a serger. It's a 5-thread serger, which sews and serges at the same time. You can always just use a zigzag stitch in a serger, but if you're trying to, sew the garment, then you want to always make sure that the inside is clean. You want to use a serger. What I do with one side, I'm going to do with the next. So the next portion we'll be working on is the top. Now that the bottom is done, we can work on the top. So I take the bodice portions, and I place right sides together, and I always do the shoulders first. I stitch up the shoulders first. So I stitch up the left shoulder first, and then I do the right shoulder. And then after I do the shoulders, I open the shirt up and I attach the sleeve. So I always put like like a cut in the middle of the sleeve, like the top middle of the sleeve, a notch, and then when I open up the shoulder seams, when I open up the shirt, you'll see the shoulder seams, and I match the notch to the shoulder seam, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I do it. So the top is stitched up. Now I'm going to open it and take the sleeve and match the notch with the shoulder seam, and then I pin it. And I'm sorry some things are a little bit out of focus. I thought it was in focus until I watched the video, but this is a lot of work, so I didn't really have to record everything all over again, but I am sorry about that. You guys did see, the crucial parts. So now I'm stitching up the sleeve. I'm attaching the sleeve to the bodice. As you can see, like I said, this is a 5 thread, and you see that it sews and it serges at the same time. And once I attach the sleeve, I fold the sleeve together, and then I sew down from the wrist all the way to the bottom of the shirt. See, I'm sewing down from the wrist all the way to the bottom of the shirt. Now that the top part is done, I take the skirt part and I open it, and then I take the bodice. The bodice is all done, as you can see, and I turn the bodice inside out, and that's the skirt part. As you see, there's an opening. I take the bodice and I turn it inside out. Remember that. Before placing the bodice into the skirt part, because you have to place it in the skirt to attach them together, I turn the bodice right side out because you want the right sides of the fabrics to be touching. Then I place the bodice inside of the skirt. Now before I do this, while I'm cutting, I place a marking on the bodice to show me which one is the front one and which is the back, and then I do the same thing for the skirt, because you don't want to sew the back of the skirt to the front of the shirt. So now that everything is pinned, I do pin the side seams. I just stitch the middle together, because with the semi-swing there is a seam in the middle. will be putting the measurements, what you need, etc. in the link below. It's in the video, but I will be putting it in the link below just in case, the video is too fast for you to see. So now I'm done placing everything together. And the next and final step is to hem everything. So you hem the neckline, you hem the sleeves, and you hem the bottom. And then you're finished. Yay! You made a semi-swing. Final look. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, Assalamu Alaikum, and have a nice day.